Hi, good morning. My name is Castro-Croy, and I am here today with Liliana.
Liliana, Baylon, and
Jen Shivey.
Hi, today we're going to have a discussion since we are going into holiday season. We want to have a discussion of how to set boundaries and limits as a clinician and as a human in our families with our loved ones, especially when it can be challenging with our clinicians and it can be challenging in our families. So we want to have this conversation because we want to be realistic and honest, and there's going to be some pretty hard times, challenging conversations that are going to come during the holidays, and how do we manage this? So who wants to start? Liliana, Jen?
So let's name, right, for all our supervisees that this is a little process.
Yes.
As we were discussing, right, like our supervisees, because they're human, and no one has a perfect family, will go into settings that are demanding of them. There's a lot of unexpected stuff that will come up, and their clients are going to be dealing with the same thing. So what will you add there, Jen, as we explain this?
Yes, we need to name it. We need to validate it, be ready for it. I find that this is always an interesting time of year because we have Thanksgiving is coming up. So everyone's out of school, schedules are off, everything is all out of whack already. Yeah. So we deal with, a lot of families deal with a taste of family dynamics over Thanksgiving, right? And then everyone goes back to school and there's this mad, crazy, chaotic, dash for the next few weeks. And then it happens again. So it's almost like you're processing everything that happened for the first round. There's a ton of chaos. You can't really sit down and process a lot of stuff in that time because there's just too much stuff going on. We're trying to cram all the things into this little space of a few weeks. And, they're steeling themselves for the next round of family dynamics that's going to happen around Christmas time, or the end of December. But it's just it feels like it's a lot to pack in. It's also a time when our clients are canceling sessions because they're busy, so they're not on track with being able to process all the things at the time that they need to be able to do it. So yeah, I guess it just feels chaotic for everybody. And then, all the therapists kind of wait until the new year to see, okay, what's happened? Yeah. What do we have to unpack now?
Yeah. In addition to that,
so it does, right? Yeah.
In addition to that, it's also the clinicians. Let's talk about realistic things go on in our families. Kids get sick, or our kids are acting out, or we have to pivot our schedules because we have some unexpected family showing up, or something was canceled with this family and we have to pick up stuff on our end. And so just notice that tensions and stress, emotions are going to be charged this season as well with our clinicians. And let's normalize it. Let's name it. Let's call it. Because as it's going to happen with our clients, it's also going to potentially happen to our clinicians, because a lot of times we have to interact with family members that we don't necessarily enjoy, that we don't necessarily choose to, but that's part of the family process, that we have to interact with them, and we have to be real. We have to realize it's going to take a toll on us mentally, emotionally as well.
And we're doing the same thing. We're canceling our own therapy sessions because we're busy. We're also not, meeting with our groups with the same regularity, because we canceled everything because it's December,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's December. We're like November 22nd and it's December already. We're gonna bypass everything.
I think the very first thing I want to normalize is the fact that it's okay to be human, and it's okay to set boundaries, and whatever way, shape, or form it may look for you. I think it's the fact that you communicate, this is my boundary, and this is what's within my I use the word a lot, bandwidth. That's not in my bandwidth. I can't right now. I don't have the bandwidth for that. That's the communication of my my boundary and I can't fulfill it. I can't do that. And I think that's the key piece. Communicate your boundary. What's your limit? And be able to, both as a clinician and as a family member, you know what, I can't have that conversation right now. It's just don't have the energy nor the bandwidth to entertain this conversation, and I need to step away from that. So it's totally okay. And I think it's very respectful, even though as respect, it's honoring your limit and your boundary. And if the other person doesn't like it, not your chicken, not your problem. You set that boundary.
Jen and I are gonna send our families to Alex so he can allocate for us. So let's come back, because what I'm hearing from all my supervisees and consultees is, and how do I do that? How do I put boundaries? How do I pivot? Because if I go with my families, the expectation is because, well, she's the therapist or he's the therapist, like they will be able to help us. So that's one. And then the other one is, but I have this fear of abandoning my clients. I have this fear of not being able to put boundaries, because what if I get grievance? Because, I did not answer a text. I did not answer an email. Like the feel that you have to be available 24/7 because of systems.
Yeah.
So as a supervisor, I think all of us feel very strongly about no one can be available 24/7. No drive-through. There's like so many cities that they're not available 24/7. And let's be real, in our field, we do a disservice by not humanizing, as Alex is mentioning, all of us as therapists, but also not humanizing ourselves, because when we go to families, we still have this fear of, that's my uncle, that's my cousin. They will say these things because, like, well, what can we do? So how to be okay? I love what Alex is saying and what Jen is saying, which is how it's okay not only to normalize it, humanize it, but how would you feel okay, and what would that look like for you to remove yourself, either emotionally or physically?
Yeah. So what I tell my clinical team and my supervisees beginning a couple of weeks ago is, all right, so the holidays are coming up. I want everybody to take a good look at their schedules, figure out, when do you really want to work? Do you really want to try to work the week between Christmas and New Year's? Because that week, nobody knows what day it is, and there's just a lot of cheese laying around, right? I call it cheese week.
The truth.
So, do you want to try to work that week? If you're going to do it, here's what you're going to have to remind your clients. You're going to have to, there's some things. So, but I tell them, take a good look and figure out when you want to be working now. Because once you have that, it's done. Put it on the calendar, like it's been said, and communicate that to your clients. So this is when I will be unavailable. I will be out. So you can set that expectation up ahead of time, and just name it for your clients. And it's okay for you to acknowledge, I have a family and I'm going to be spending time with them. It's not a secret. You're a human too, and that will actually go a long way in building your relationship with your client. The other thing, Liliana, that I caught, I don't know if this is what you meant to say, but the fact that you're a therapist going into your family situations and they know you're a therapist, do you need to, I talk a lot about pre-gaming situations, because this is how I manage my own anxiety. I have a scenario for everything in my head pre-planned. So like, do you need to have some witty comebacks from, when you're with your family and they're like, hey, I wanted to ask you about something. I have, decide ahead of time. Do you have bandwidth, as Alex said, to do that? Do you have bandwidth to sit with them and talk about that? Or do you not? Did you really just want to be part of eating cheese with everybody else? So do you need witty comebacks? Like, I could answer that, but then I'd have to bill you. Or do you, so, and it sounds funny, but again, it's, if you have some of these scripts in your head ahead of time, you can use those, and that's your own way of setting boundaries, and that's your own way of going into a situation saying, okay, I know this is a possibility, here is how I want to handle it ish, right? Like you have some sort of vague, I'm not doing this today, or I actually do want to talk to this family member about this, or whatever.
So it seems like what we're saying is take care of you. Right. Emotionally take care of you, physically take care of you. and do what feels okay for you, because we may be suggesting these things, but depending on the family script that you have, depending on the fear that you have within our field. I wish to say that all agencies are like Jen's agency, but they're not. So let's make sure that you take care of you within your capacity. And what we're naming here is just suggestions, because we know that there's always a parallel process, and it's that time of year. Anything else that we want to add?
Yeah, I think, and the other piece too is this is and Lilian, I know you're huge on attachment. This is a huge time of the year where you start seeing people's attachment styles, where you see secure, anxious, avoidant, or mixed. Oh, it's gonna come up, and be very mindful of that. And normalize it, talk about it, because this is tis the season for gossip, tis the season for talking about people, family, and
I'm sorry, but we're not calling it gossip anymore.
Oh,
we
yeah.
established that. Did you remember, Jen, what we're calling it?
Yes. I remember you. What is it? You told me about it. We have a new word.
It's theorizing, if I'm pronouncing it right. Yes,
theorizing, Alex.
That's what we're doing.
Theorizing. We're gonna, so you're gonna start theorizing, or seeing family theorize, or interpretations based on people's attachment style. And just, I want to normalize that, and that can be a whole nother conversation on a whole nother day. But just be very mindful that you're gonna see a lot of triggers. You're gonna see a lot of conversations. You're gonna see a lot of theorizing coming up based on people's perspectives and attachment styles, and just address it as it comes.
As Alex says, not your chicken. You don't have to say anything. You just get the popcorn and observe. That's all you do.
Observe and don't absorb. Observe and
there
don't.
You go.
And
we're
gonna not absorb it.
Yeah. I think we're gonna let go of this exactly with that.
Yeah.
Observe
and don't absorb. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Get your popcorn ready. We'll see you soon.
Bye.